Warriors game. I thought there was a if you ever go to like the fair, like the Topsfield Fair or the Big Easy or just anything like that, even Marshfield, get yourself a turkey leg. There's a lot of meat on the bone from last night's Celtics game. And there are these other storylines that are coming out in other sports. The Bruins have a couple of storylines here. I don't know what to do anymore about the Bruins. There's no more levers for me to pull on how to fix this thing. But yet Montgomery's going to try it again tonight. Also, how do you feel about the acquisitions that the Bruins have made this offseason? We'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. And I have numbers regarding Caleb Williams. I want to make Caleb Williams Drake May happen. I want to hype it up. I want it to be the first of a rivalry. I want it to be that. The problem is, it's the Patriots defense versus Swift, then Caleb Williams. So Drake May is going to face a pass rush all day, while Caleb Williams, who's been sacked 29 times this year, can the Patriots actually get at him? All this talk about, is Caleb Williams good or can he do this? He's been sacked 7 times in a game. 3 times, I think, is like the average. Can the Patriots even get at him? And if they can't, it's going to be a long day in Chicago. And should I remind you, Caleb Williams and the Bears are 4-0 at home this year, 0-4 on the road. I have some numbers for you regarding Caleb Williams and the Bears, home versus away. So we'll start there at 617-779-0985. Skaz is here as well. I know the Bees are on coming up in a bit. We'll hand things over to them. But the Celtics and Warriors game was as advertised. I've mentioned that every time the two teams have played, it's come down to the final possession. 2 of those games have gone into overtime. At least last night, it was a 2-possession game up until the end. But I've heard so many comments today regarding the Celtics. They had a chance. They came back. They trailed by 14 points. They had a lead in the fourth quarter, and they blew it. It is easy to say, yeah, if Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis were there, would they win? Absolutely. Absolutely, they would win. There's too much talent there. The problem was this was an actual experience for Joe Mazzulla and the team to see if they could break a certain type of defense, if they could score with Jason Tatum as the point forward. And could they make defensive adjustments defending Steph Curry without the basketball? And I think all those things, last night, they can't do it without Brown or at least Porzingis. I mean, they consistently give up points in the paint. Last night, another 52 points inside the paint. But Celtics versus Warriors was exactly what it's always been. And the Kerr versus Tatum thing, advantage Steve Kerr. Said all the right things before the game. He got booed. They really defended the perimeter well. They were the number 1 team going into the game. The Celtics came away with 40 first-half points. And the Warriors held the Celtics to those 40 first-half points. They've averaged 66 per game. So they handed it to them defensively. The Celtics erased a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter, but they could not hold on. They had a 7-point lead with just under 7 minutes to go. Defensive breakdowns were the difference in the game. Tatum finished with a game-high 32 points on 10 of 20 shooting. He went 5 of 10 from downtown, yet there are some people who thought he didn't shoot enough. Derek White played well with Jaylen Brown out of the mix, 26 points. He was 7 of 16 from 3. Now, I can't remember a time where White's had that amount of volume of threes, but it's substantial, but it's still a good percentage. And Neemias Queta came through, 14 points, 8 rebounds. He had 5 offensive rebounds, 2 blocks, and he's got the start last night. He also had some defensive issues as well, but Steph Curry was the difference. His 27 points were the difference. His pure presence on the court was the difference. Buddy Hield hit a closeout 3. Andrew Wiggins added 16 points apiece. It was the 5th consecutive win for Golden State. I think that's the story of the night. Golden State is back. Now, I don't know how long or if something happens to Draymond Green, or can Steph Curry play the entire season, they have themselves a team, and they've done it moving on from Klay Thompson and moving on from some other players. They preach defense, but know late in games they can win games. They know how to win games. And the presence of Steph Curry alone can rattle any defense, and it did for the Celtics last night. 12 turnovers leading to 16 points for Golden State. 7 offensive rebounds surrendered in the fourth quarter by the Celtics. They were outscored 32-20 in the final 7 minutes and 3 seconds. I'll keep it simple. It wasn't anyone's fault why the Celtics lost the game last night. It wasn't this guy did this, or they shot too many threes, or any of that. The Warriors scored on every possession under 4 minutes. They won the 50-50 balls. 10-6 in the fourth quarter. They could not get a stop. And you actually saw a defense from Golden State where the Warriors attacked Tatum at half court. And I'll say this, Jason Tatum out of that double team, he had a few turnovers early on and he finally beat it, but he started passing the ball to other guys who were not knocking down shots. If you watch that game again, he would have had way over double digits in assists. Players weren't knocking down the shots last night when he was getting out of the double team. He was doing it all. I thought Tatum was absolutely excellent last night. The Celtics, another thing, remember a couple of games ago, the 2 games ago these two teams played, Steph Curry had 5 fouls going into the fourth quarter. They never attacked him. Not once did they attack him. Yesterday in the game, the Celtics didn't go at Curry at all late in the game. Instead, they left the back door open and let him move around without the basketball. I also want to criticize Joe Mazzulla. He could have made adjustments. He could have taken Jason Tatum off the ball. It could have been Derek White and Drew Holiday in the backcourt instead of Tatum. And have Tatum cook from inside the restricted area like he did to Buddy Hield on that foul play. This was a coaching opportunity for Mazzulla last night. I don't think Mazzulla made the adjustments. I think Kerr had a game plan and a blueprint. And in recent years, the Warriors were the ultimate measuring stick when it came to the Celtics. Last night, the Warriors used the Celtics as the ultimate measuring stick. They're 7-1. They know how to match up with the Celtics defensively. They also know Jaylen Brown and Porzingis were not playing last night. They have the blueprint and the players to beat the Celtics if they should meet again. It would be entertaining as hell to watch the Celtics try to repeat against the last team to do it. Your thoughts there at 617-779-0985. This game proved to me the Warriors know they can beat the Celtics. I don't know if any other team has that type of confidence. 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray. We're here until 6:30 before we hand things off to Ryan Johnson and Bob Pierce. And I got some Bruin stuff for you as well. Do that as we head to break here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe.
right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Yeah, another 12 minutes or so. I had to hit on the Celtics last night. There's the fact that the Warriors, every possession that they had, they scored. There were some big defensive breakdowns. I think it had a lot to do with Kata on the court. As much as I was coming up with nicknames for him last night, I had Darth Kata. I had Finding Nemus. There was another one today that that somebody sent to me. But it was great. I mean, he was a big part of what they did. And when he was on the court, quite frankly, he had the best plus-minus in the game. But I think at times White and Tatum were being picked on. White, I think, was overcompensating. Same with Tatum. And I think that Steph Curry got in their head. Just knowing where he is on the court, but yet they're leaving him wide open. I don't know. For the first time, Joe Mazzulla, I thought that offensively you could have changed having Tatum at the point. Because if you don't have him at the point, do they double team him? Do they do the double attack from the arc on? I thought he struggled at times trying to get out of that. It's great when you got Jaylen Brown on the other side, right? Instead, it was Derek White who had a solid night. They're just two completely different players. It was the difference. Actually, you know what the difference was? I don't know if we're making a big enough deal about Kristaps Porzingis and not being a part of this. I mentioned points in the paint. Dude, they've given up like 50 a game. They gave up 70 a few games ago against Indiana. But opponent 2-point field goals, last year the Celtics, they were second in the NBA. This year they're 19th. It's dramatic, and this is without Porzingis. And with him on the floor, they were number one team in the league in opponent in field goals. This year, 21st. It's dramatic. It's dramatic. But the Celtics, though, this game proved the Warriors know they can beat the Celtics. Like, they know who Boston is. Steph Curry said it after the game. He said that Tatum was awesome. D. White was awesome. He mentioned the environment and winning there. He goes, they know what happened last year. This was a great test for them. Even Buddy Hield after the game said they made a statement. Skaz, I wanted to bring this up to you. Remember we were walking out last night. I said this to you, so I wanted to bring it back up. But do you feel as though the Warriors maybe don't respect the Celtics? And obviously they sent a message last night. Besides that blowout, the Celtics, every game has been close with the Warriors. But do you think there was a disrespect level on that end, even with the game plan from Kerr, even potentially Kerr not playing Jason Tatum?
No, I think it's almost the opposite. I think they have the utmost respect for the Celtics. The Celtics have been a thorn in their side for the last 8 years, it feels like. Even when it was Isaiah Thomas and Avery Bradley and Marcus Smart, they would go into Golden State and give them, as good a game as anybody. So I think Steve Kerr has the utmost respect for, the Celtics and Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla, and his team, I think, kind of mirrored that last night. They were ready to go. They had a good game plan. They knew they wanted to double team Tatum at every time he touched the ball, especially in the pick and roll, and it worked. Credit to Steve Kerr. So no, I don't think there is a disrespect there. I think disrespect is almost taking your opponent too lightly at times. I think the Warriors have a very healthy respect for the Celtics.
Do you think the Warriors know they can beat the Celtics?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's...
Now that I think about it, that's the only team that I fear. Now, with everyone healthy, I'll bet the Celtics 10 times out of 10 times. But there's a blueprint, right? I just think it's different when you have Porzingis in the middle and Brown. If they're going to run that double team scheme that they were doing yesterday, you just float it right on over to Jaylen Brown, who'll get it inside the paint, and if they double him, you lob it up to Porzingis, or Porzingis spreads the floor. Also, who would have thought like Sam Hauser and Luke Cornett would have made an impact last night not being available? So I don't want to make excuses, but they couldn't adjust last night. Like that was a Mazzulla thing, if you ask me. So you think they respect them, but they also are confident that they can beat them. I guess that's my point. I think they do respect them, but they also are confident that they can beat them and know they're the best. I just love the angle, the storyline. They want to go back-to-back, but the team that did it before went back-to-back. I love that. In on that one. Something's not right with Drew Holiday. He's wearing a wrap on his leg. He didn't handle the ball late in the game. He wasn't right defensively. He hasn't been shooting well. What's going on there? Is he just battling something? And how about that Nemus Keita coming out party? He's been killing it in the paint. They're much better on the floor with him in the game. I just didn't think so defensively. But the Green have never lost more than 2 consecutive games. And I don't believe they've dropped back-to-back games. They didn't do it in the playoffs, right? They're 17-4 after a loss last year. And obviously 1-0 after their loss this year. And, well, they'll take on Brooklyn on Friday night. One other thing I wanted to bring up quickly, Bears versus Patriots this week. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick, goes to the Bears. The Bears made a lot of moves this year. You know, last year at the trade deadline, they got Sweat, one of their best pass rushers. You know, they traded for Keenan Allen. They drafted Roma Dunze. They had DJ Moore. That's how they got this, you know, the 2 first-round picks a year ago where they could draft Caleb Williams. They have Cole Kmet still in the mix. They got a free agent in Swift as their running back. I mean, they're a very talented team that's growing, and, you know, they have their struggles, though, still with the offensive line. They had them last year as well. But I wanted to just give you the numbers of Caleb Williams playing on the road versus at home. And the road games this year, they're 0-4 on the road. Caleb Williams is 121 for 154. He's thrown for 885 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and has been sacked 20 times. When he plays at home in Chicago, they're 4-0 this year. He's 74 of 110. He's thrown for 780 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's been sacked only 9 times in 4 games. So I'd love to give you an analysis this week of Patriots versus Bears. I think that the Bears are going to line up. They're going to give it to Swift, and then Swift's going to run it down the Patriots' throat. And then when the Patriots are putting so many guys in the box, then Caleb Williams will have big plays down the field to Moore, Adunze, Kmet, Allen. And then in the fourth quarter, they're going to be so tired, they're going to do whatever they want to him. So I want it to be Caleb Williams versus Drake May. Unfortunately, can Drake May throw on their defense? Absolutely. Right? I mean, a lot of these numbers were against bad teams, too, that Caleb Williams played. But I just feel like now it's, 3 road games in a row now? So you get Tennessee. Oh, sorry, the first true road game was this week. So it's back-to-back road games as well for Drake May. I think it's going to be a tough week for the Patriots. And right now they're 6-point underdogs. The Bears do play close games. They've only had a couple of true blowouts. But I just don't like the chances for the Patriots this week on the road in Chicago. We do have Thursday night football tonight as well. Bengals and Ravens. Bengals have a difficult